So the topic is vital signs, and this class is for the BSc Nursing first year students. We have already discussed this unit in the class, so this is a revision class, and I will highlight the important points of this unit. So what are vital signs? The definition of vital signs are clinical measurements that indicate the state of a patient's essential body function. So vital signs, signs means these are objective measurements, right? So we can measure these vital signs. So these are the clinical measurements. And what is their function? These vital signs help us to know about the state of a patient's essential body function. So whether the person's health status is normal or abnormal, and the essential body functions are normal or not normal, so this is indicated by the vital signs. Another definition is measurements that provide data to determine the usual state of health. Vital signs are also called cardinal signs. So basically vital signs are the measurements, right? These are objective measurements, not subjective. These are objective, and they are called vital signs because they are showing the status of the vital organs of our body. So that's why they are called the vital signs, because our body is functioning because of the vital organs action, right? For example, because of the heart, because of the lungs, because of our circulatory system, and the temperature regulating mechanism. So in this way, these all functions are measured or known by using the vital signs. That's why these are called vital signs. So as you all know, there are four primary vital signs, right? These are temperature, body temperature, pulse, respiration, and the blood pressure. The fifth vital signs, it is not primary, but it is called the pain. So pain is the fifth vital signs. Now what are the purposes of the assessment of the vital signs? Why we need to know about the person's body temperature, pulse, respiration, and blood pressure? First, assess the health status of individual. So if the patient's body temperature is increased, it is above 99 degree of Fahrenheit, it means the person is having fever. So there are many causes of fever, and we can easily identify, yes, the person's health status is not normal, it is abnormal. Second, helps to understand the present problem, because these vital signs shows whether they are normal or abnormal. We can identify what is the reason, right? What is the problem? So if the person is shivering and we check the body temperature, so the present problem is the shivering. So we check the body temperature, we came to know that the person is having fever. So we can easily identify by checking the vital signs that persons is having fever, and that's why the person is shivering. Third, plan and implement the nursing care. Nurse's role is very important in assessing these vital signs, right? We assess the vital signs, and because of the assessment of these vital signs only, we are planning the nursing care, and then we are implementing the nursing care. For example, if the person's respiratory rate is increased more than 24 breaths per minute for an adult, we can easily identify the person is having breathing difficulty. Now, the nurse's role is to plan nursing care for this patient, right? So that the respiratory rate can come to the normal. So in this way, the assessment of the vital signs help us to plan the nursing care also, and then implement also. Understand the effectiveness of treatment. we check the blood pressure of the person who is hypertensive, right? And we came to know that the blood pressure is very high. It is above 150 by 100 mm of Hg. So for that person we require to give the medications so that blood pressure can come to normal. So we will provide the antihypertensive drug to the patient, and after providing the medication, after half an hour to 1 hour, we will reassess the blood pressure and then come to know whether the treatment, whether the medication which we gave, it was very effective or not. So in this way it helps us to understand the effectiveness of the treatment. Then modify the mode of treatment. Yes, it also helps to modify the mode of treatment. So the person was, for example, the person was having 99.2 degree Fahrenheit temperature. So we know it is fever. Now the nurse will carry out all those interventions so that the person's body temperature come to the normal body temperature. So she started with giving the sponge care to the person, but she reassessed the temperature, but it was not reduced, it was increased. So obviously our nursing care needs to modify. We can easily know that yes, the person is not having any effectiveness of this sponge care. We have to modify the treatment. We have to give the tablet paracetamol. So in this way it helps in the modifying the mode of the treatment also. Then a routine part of a physical examination. Physical examination always uh, include the vital signs assessment. So these are the purposes of the assessment of the vital signs. So to summarize, what are the purposes of the assessment of the vital signs? We can say that vital signs assessment is essential to understand what is the health status of the person, whether the person's vital signs are normal or abnormal, and in this way we can find out the health status, whether the person is having normal health status or abnormal health status. Also, we can identify what is the problem, why the person's vital signs are abnormal. Then we can plan the care, we can implement the care, and if the implementation is not effective, we can also modify the treatment. So in this way the assessment of the vital signs is essential. Now what are the principles of the assessment of vital signs? First principle is vital signs are governed by the vital organs and often reveal even the slightest deviation from the normal body function. So as I told you, our vital organs function is assessed by checking the vital signs, right? So in this way even a slightest deviation occur, that helps to understand there is a problem in our body functioning. Second is changes in the condition of patient, improvement or regression may be detected by observation of these signs. Obviously when a person is in hospital, we reassess the vital signs. It is not that we will just check the vital signs only once a day. Even in the hospital, for those who are having illness, who are hospitalized in the hospital, so their vital signs are checked very frequently so that we can identify whether the condition is improving or it is deteriorating. Through vital signs, specific information may be obtained, and this helps in diagnosis, treatment, and the nursing care of the patient. This is already I have discussed. Then patient emotional state also cause significant variation in these vital signs. Yes. So the person is sad or the person is very excited. In the cases of excitement, there will be increased pulse rate, right? Or the blood pressure will be increased. So our emotional status also causes the change in the vital signs. So these are the four principles that these vital signs are governed by the vital organs. Then vital signs help us to know whether the condition is improving or deteriorating. These vital signs assessment helps in the diagnosis and treatment and the nursing care which needs to be given. And our emotional status um, also have effect on the vital signs, right? Then when to take these vital signs, what are the timings of taking the vital signs, in which conditions we are taking the vital signs. First, patient's admission to healthcare facility. So when the person is coming to the OPD, whether the person is coming to the emergency department or the person is directly admitted to the ward, in all these conditions we have to identify the vital signs, assess the vital signs, so that we can understand whether the person's health status is normal or abnormal. Then in hospital it is a routine schedule. Normally, for those who are not severely ill, in the hospital, these are checked 3 times a day. The nurse check in the morning shift, in the afternoon shift, and evening shift and the night shift. Before and after any surgical procedure, even during the surgery, the vital signs are checked. Except for the body temperature, the vital signs are checked uh, whole in the during whole surgery. These are checked before and after any invasive diagnostic procedure. Any diagnostic procedure in which is invasive. Invasive means there is a the means the piercing is done on the skin, and the diagnosis is carried out by that. For example, if we are doing the contrast CT scan of the person, so we can give this contrast by using cannula, right? So in that case, it is an invasive diagnostic procedure. So there is a need to check the vital signs, so that, because when we are doing the invasive diagnostic procedure, that may alter the vital signs. So we should already know the person is stable enough so that he can tolerate this invasive diagnostic procedure. Generally, for those who are having the complaints of heart attack, chest pain, angina, there is an invasive diagnostic procedure. It is called cardiac catheterization. So through the femoral artery only, catheter is inserted. It is directly entered into the heart. So it is an invasive diagnostic procedure. So after performing that procedure, there is a need to check the vital signs. Then before and after the administration of medication, any medication which has effect on the vital signs, right? So we have to, before administrating the medication and after administrating the medication, we have to check the vital signs. For example, if we are giving the medication for the hypertension, or we are giving the medication for fever, antipyretic drugs we are giving, or we are giving medication which can alter the pulse rate like digoxin. So in all these conditions, we have to assess the vital signs before and after the administration of medication. Now, when the patient physiological condition changes, yes, so you have to check the assessment, check the vital signs. If the patient's physical condition changes, the person complains that, sister, I am having respiratory difficulty, I don't know what to do, right? So in that condition, you have to check the vital signs. The person is saying, complaining, I'm shivering, I'm feeling cold. So in that condition, you have to check the vital signs. The person just fell down onto the floor, So in that condition you have to check the vital signs. So if patient physical change condition changes, you have to check the vital signs. Then before and after any nursing intervention which may affect the vital signs. So if you are providing any nursing intervention that may have effect on the vital signs, you have to check before and after. Then when any patient complains of any non-specific sign and symptom. So this was the timing of taking the vital signs. It is not that in the hospital you have to take only for the three uh, in each shift. No, there are various indications of assessing the vital signs which already we discussed. Now what is the role of nurse? The role of nurse: first obtain the vital signs. After obtaining, the nurse's role is very important in interpreting these findings and then make the decisions about the intervention. So first obtain the vital signs appropriately, properly check the vital signs, then interpret it whether they are normal or abnormal, and if they are abnormal, make the decision what needs to be done, whether you require to inform to your senior person, senior leader or the physician. And then equipment must be working properly to ensure that accurate findings get. So before obtaining the vital signs, check the equipments, whether the blood pressure cuff is functioning or not, the thermometer is functioning or not, your watch, it is functioning or not. So in this way, check the equipments. Then select the equipment depending upon patient characteristics and condition. So identify the patient characteristics, the age of the person, the mental status of the person, the for example the thermometer that needs to be taken, the size of the blood pressure curve that needs to be taken for assessment of the vital signs. So this is very important. Then control or minimize the environmental factor that may affect the vital signs. For example, you are going for the assessment of the vital signs and it is a hot summer day. In the hospital, you ask the person to place the thermometer in the armpit. So obviously there will be sweating because it is a hot summer day. So that may affect the reading. In that case, you have to inform the person to clean, to dry out that sweat by using gauze piece so that you can get the accurate reading. Similarly, after eating any hot or cold liquid, directly you can take the body temperature from the oral route, right? So you have to wait for the half an hour. So in this way, control all those factors which may affect the vital signs. Then use an organized or the systematic approach. Then approach the patient in a calm and caring approach so that the person is relaxed. Your presence does not affect the vital signs of the person. Based on client's condition, collaborate with physician and decide the frequency of the assessment. Analyze the results, then verify and communicate the significant finding to the physician. And also the one of the major important role is document the findings. There are vital signs chart in which you have to document the patient's vital signs. You have recorded the vital signs, you wrote them in a piece of paper, but you have not documented in the file. It means it is of no use. So documentation is very necessary. So document the findings. Now this was the role of the nurse. Now in adults there is a specific reading for the vital signs. For example, in adults, body temperature 98.6 degree Fahrenheit is normal or 37 degrees Celsius is normal. In adults, the pulse is 73 beats per minute is normal, respiration 16 breaths per minute, and the blood pressure 19. Oh, it is written wrong. It should be 120 by 80, 120 systolic blood pressure and 80 diastolic blood pressure mm of Hg. The most important thing here is the units. You have to learn. For the pulse it is beats per minute, and for the respiration it is breath per minute. For the blood pressure it is millimeter of mercury. Hg is the symbol for the mercury. So learn all these units. But the normal range of these vital signs vary with the age also, weight also, gender also, and the overall health also. So mostly the normal body temperature ranges from 36 degrees Celsius to the 37.5 degrees Celsius. In other way we can say 96.5 degree Fahrenheit to 99.5 degree Fahrenheit. The pulse rate. In the newborn, the pulse rate is 100 to 160 beats per minute. For the infant 0 to 5 months old, it is 90 to 150 beats per minute. Then from 6 to 12-month old, it is 80 to 140 beats per minute. Then 1 to 3 years old, it is 80 to 130 beats per minute. For the child who is 3 to 5 years old, it is 80 to 120 only. From 6 to 10 years old, it is 70 to 110 beats per minute. Those who are in the age of 11 to 14 years old, the pulse rate is 60 to 105 beats per minute. And more than 15 years old, the range is 60 to 100 beats per minute. So basically in the adults we can say it is 60 to 100 beats per minute. Then the respiratory rate. In the newborn, the respiratory rate will be increased. Then in the adult, it will be normal. So in the newborn, it is 30 to 50 breaths per minute. For 0 to 5 months, 25 to 40. For 6 months to 5 years, it is 20 to 30 breaths per minute. From 6 to 10 years, it is 15 to 30 breaths per minute. Then 11 to 14 years, it is 12 to 40 breaths per minute. Then 15 to 20 years, it is 12 to 30 breaths per minute. Then 18 to 65 years, it is 16 to 20 breaths per minute. And in the old age, it is 10 to 24 breaths per minute. So it is basically in the adults, the range is 16 to 20 breaths per minute. So in the newborn, the respiratory rate will be very high, and as the age is increases, it will be reduced. Now blood pressure. Blood pressure also changes according to the age. For the infants, the systolic blood pressure is 75 to 100 mm of Hg, and diastolic blood pressure is 50 to 70 mm of Hg. In the toddlers also, it is systolic blood pressure 80 to 110 mm of Hg. In the diastolic blood pressure, it is 50 to 80 mm of Hg. For preschoolers 3 to 5 years, systolic blood pressure is 80 to 110 mm of Hg. Diastolic blood pressure is 50 to 80 mm of Hg. In the school age, 6 to 13 years of age, systolic blood pressure is 85 to 120. Diastolic blood pressure is 55 to 80 mm of Hg. In the adolescents, it is 13 to 18 years. Systolic blood pressure is 95 to 120 mm of Hg, and the diastolic pressure is 60 to 90 mm of Hg. For those adults who are 19 to 40 years, systolic blood pressure is 95 to 135 mm of Hg, and the diastolic pressure is 60 to 80 mm of Hg. For the 41 to 60 years of age, systolic blood pressure is 110 to 145 mm of Hg. Diastolic blood pressure is 70 to 90 mm of Hg. For those who are older adults, 65 and older, their systolic blood pressure is 95 to 145 mm of Hg, and diastolic blood pressure is 70 to 90 mm of Hg. So basically, as the age is increasing, the blood pressure is also increasing. So today in this class we discuss the main important points of the vital signs unit, in which we discussed what is the definition of vital signs, what are the principles, why we check the or why we assess the vital signs, then what is the role of nurse in the assessment of the vital signs. Then we discuss the normal range of the primary vital signs for the blood pressure also, for the pulse also, for the respiratory rate also, and for the body temperature also. So we discussed the normal range, and it was mostly um, with respective of the age. So thank you so much.